Hi everyone, my name is Michelle Sanford. I am a developer engagement lead for Microsoft, and this year I'm running the Microsoft Student Accelerator program. I have with me today Louise, who is going to talk about one of the student boot camps that she was on. Then tell us who you are and what you're doing.
So my name is Louise. I am a second year Bachelor of Data Science student currently at RMIT University in Melbourne. Over January, our uni ran a boot camp where we could do the Microsoft fundamentals over 3 weeks, which was really exciting.
And you were quite the star because you did how many? Three of them?
Yes, I put myself up for all three of the fundamentals, the Azure fundamentals, AI fundamentals, and the data fundamentals. So over the 3 weeks, I sort of dedicated some time to each of those and managed to pass all three, which was nice.
Outstanding. Because most of the other students in the boot camp decided to only do one exam each so as not to put too much pressure on themselves. Um, do you do you think that they were unambitious?
I think one probably would have been enough. I did have to spend a fair bit of time, but knowing that I did take the time off for the boot camp, so the only thing I focused on was the boot camp for those 3 weeks. So if you have the time, I definitely recommend going for more. They all sort of complement each other a little bit, and once you sort of practice with one, the other ones aren't that different or difficult because you've had practice with sort of different sorts of questions, the wordings that you might see. So anything that you do will helps for each of them.
And was it less scary after you'd done the first one?
Yes, once you got the first one out of the way and you know what to expect, the other two were easy. So it was good to do them all together and close together because you have the experience, the nervousness is gone because you know what to expect each day. We did the exams one each day, so I had sort of like could focus on one, finish that, clear that out, finish, focus on the revision for another one, do that, etc. So it was good.
And what was the first one you did?
First one I started was the Azure fundamentals. So that was all about the products, which was interesting. That was the hardest one I found, as I hadn't had a lot of experience with the Azure technologies and products, and that one's quite specific. The AI and the data fundamentals is a bit more conceptual, so like things that I'd covered already at uni, and they were after the Azure fundamentals in the week.
I thought the Azure Fundamentals was quite hard when I did it. In fact, I think each of the platform ones is quite hard, just in that there's so much content there. And as you say, it's not necessarily relatable to something you've already done.
Yeah,
So,
hadn't used it before, so it was a nice little taster.
yeah, yeah, it's good to get it out of the way though. And which one was the most fun?
I definitely enjoyed learning path for the AI. You get to build a lot of models and play around with the labs. I spent a lot of time in the labs just because I was having so much fun. And the content itself is quite complementary to the labs as well. So definitely helps to learn and practice. And I learn by doing. So that was my way of studying for the exams.
I often say to students that I think for the fundamentals, they don't have to do the labs if they find that too intimidating. They could just pass those exams from the learning content. Do you think that would have been possible for you?
Oh, for sure. Yes. The learning part, like reading through and learning the content is enough for the fundamentals. Personally myself, like I'm a doer learning by doer, so I needed the lab sort of to help me. But if you're someone who can just read something, you definitely don't need to spend too much time on them. If you've got a limited time before your exam, just focus on reading the learning path.
Mm. And sometimes it freaks people out if they're trying to do something and they can't do it, then it kind of
Yes.
that gets in their head.
Yeah,
What
there
would
was
be
a
your
little bit of
top?
troubleshooting needed.
Yeah, the troubleshooting is, oh, yeah. And then when you don't have any more time and you just think, oh, what would be your top tips for other students who were thinking about doing their exams?
Definitely read all of the learning path first. Don't get too bogged down on things that you don't understand. If you do all of the content first, even if you don't 100% understand everything, you might find that like later chapters and like later modules actually answer the questions you might have had. And that way you haven't wasted time sort of trying to knuckle down too early on things that, will be later explained. And then once you've known that everything's there, you know what you need to go back to and spend more time on, and you can even go back to specific modules. And that was really what helped me the most. I think I ended up going through them about 2 or 3 times in total, before the exam.
Um, I think that without the labs, they say the content for the AI one is about 10 hours. Is much quicker than that on your second and third times through, would you say?
Yes, don't need that much time. Like, I obviously went through the first time a little bit quicker because I just wanted to see what we were learning. I had some understanding from uni, which really helped me, because I wasn't really coming fresh into, like, AI and data. The Azure fundamentals for sure. The first time I did end up actually going through it quite, fine-tooth comb the first time, writing down everything. And then the second and third times, I could go back to it. But it definitely doesn't take as long as they say, like, if you just wanted to go through it. And so if you're skipping the labs as well, you can cut some time down. So don't get disheartened by how long it says to take, because it's once you get into it, it's very fun as well. So it's easy to keep learning and reading as well.
And did you say you're just starting your second year at university? Is that right?
Yes.
And what do you think is the difference between the content that you learn for your degree and the content that you learn for your vendor certifications like these?
They were quite similar. Like, the AI and the data fundamentals covers concepts such as models, relational databases, tables, things like that. So we'd all covered that in uni, which was good. So even if you were just starting out or interested in the field, doing the fundamental certifications would give you a good base of knowledge. I would say it's probably 90% of what we covered in first year. So you do get quite a good basis of knowledge, and a general understanding of everything that is really important in the AI and data world. Azure is a little bit different because it's so specific in the products. But I learned a lot from that, and it's good to see that there's a product out there for everyone, no matter how much coding and computer knowledge you have.
Cool. And what would you say is the advantage of doing your Microsoft certifications?
I got a lot of confidence out of doing them because I realized that I do understand this and I can use it, and it does make sense to me. So it's very good just for yourself to do and learn and see and prove to yourself that you can do it. So I really liked that aspect of it. But also with the fundamental and the certifications, I can use them to get a job and sort of what's the word? Like, separate myself from my peers, who might not necessarily have done the fundamentals and certifications like that.
Yeah, it's a good point actually, because how many people are on your course doing your degree?
Oh, not too sure. Definitely 100 at least, I would say.
Yeah, so
Um,
potentially hundreds in your university, and then across the country, there might be hundreds more, maybe even thousands doing the same or similar degree. And then across the world, it could be tens of thousands. And so,
yeah.
yeah, you have to do whatever you can to differentiate yourself from your peers and show that you've got what it takes to cut it in the real world. Um, what else are you doing to, accelerate and jumpstart your career?
Well, I just do a lot of self-study. I find little projects and things that I can get involved in, that I like to spend my time with. So at the moment, I'm doing another learning path through the Student Accelerator program. I'm trying to get my data scientist associate certification. Just another certificate to add to the list to spend my time doing. But as I said, you get a lot out of the Microsoft certification. So I'm just focusing on those because they give you so many hands-on skills and experience and ways to build projects as well that are slightly different to if you were just doing it straight from uni and coding as you have been in class.
Yeah, we were talking about that this morning, actually, what other things we're going to teach people to build during the Microsoft Student Accelerator. And I said, yeah, I think it's important that it isn't just teaching people about Microsoft products. It will give them an opportunity to build stuff in Azure or Power Platform or whatever, in order to have demonstratable projects that they can show to employers afterwards to say, you know, I know how to use the tools, I know how to build stuff in it, and here's some examples of my work. Have you had any? Do you use GitHub already?
Yes, I use GitHub already, and well, mostly for uni and learning how to collaborate with other people when writing code.
Oh yeah, it's a really good skill. And so you already have some samples of work that you've done on your GitHub portfolio.
Yes, looking forward to building it though.
Yeah, well, we're going to do in the first technical workshop, we're going to do making fancy GitHub profiles, which is a good way to catch the eye of employers. Yeah, that's a cool one. All right, cool. Okay, then maybe we'll just finish with any advice or top tips or anything else that you want to pass on to your peers.
My biggest top tip would just sign up and do them. It's a lot of fun. You get a lot out of it as well. As I mentioned, it helps you differentiate yourself from everyone who hasn't been doing them. But no, I really had a great time. The bootcamp, if your uni runs one, that would be a perfect opportunity to do them because you get a lot of support and you get sessions that you can go to that help you do exam prep and learning. So definitely doing it via a bootcamp is a good idea. Doing them by yourself is fun as well. I had a lot of fun just playing around with it. But just my recommendation would be to just do them because it's a great little addition to your knowledge.